Gentlemen, imagine this: you're sipping your morning coffee, flipping through a handful of pocket change from years gone by, and there it is. A small, copper coin. Scratched. Ordinary. Or so you thought. But that same coin, just a 1962 D Lincoln penny, could actually be worth $1.80 million. Yes. 1 penny. 1 moment. One life-changing find. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that has stunned collectors, shaken the numismatic world, and put jaw-dropping amounts of money into the hands of regular Americans, folks just like you. So grab your coffee, sit back, and listen close. By the end of this video, you might just want to dig through that old cigar box or dusty jar in the garage. Because buried in plain sight could be your ticket to a millionaire lifestyle. You'll want to stick around until the end, because I'll reveal a hidden trait that separates the $1.8 million 1962 D penny from the pocket change we ignore every day. To understand the power of this coin, we first need to rewind. It's 1962. John F. Kennedy is in the White House. Elvis is on every jukebox. Gas is just 28 cents a gallon. And over in Denver, millions of Lincoln pennies are rolling off the mince presses. The 1962 D Lincoln Memorial penny, minted in Denver, is part of a legacy started back in 1909. That's when Abraham Lincoln became the first historical figure on a circulating U.S. coin. Fast forward to 1959, and the reverse design was changed from wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial, marking 50 years of honoring the 16th president. But here's the kicker: while most of these pennies were made for circulation and ended up in vending machines, candy shops, and kids' pockets, a rare handful, only a few, were struck differently. And that's where the magic begins. It's all in the details. You see, in the world of coin collecting, value comes from rarity, condition, and errors. And the 1962 D penny hits all three when the stars align. There's a specific version of this coin with what experts call a high-grade strike with a rare mint error. Some have a misaligned die. Others show doubling, meaning Lincoln's profile or the date looks slightly doubled under magnification, and then, there are those struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a penny accidentally struck on a silver dime blank. These are the kinds of mistakes that get collectors buzzing and opening their wallets. A single 1962 D penny in perfect condition, we're talking MS67 or higher, with a flawless red luster, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. That's not a myth. That's a matter of public record. We'll get to how to find out in just a moment. Let's break down what makes a coin truly valuable in the eyes of collectors and investors. First, we talk about grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A penny in your pocket might be a 10 or a 20. But a mint state coin, a coin that's never been circulated, is where serious value lies. A 1962 D penny graded MS67 red? That's a golden ticket. Red refers to the color of the copper. Pennies oxidize over time. Most turn brown. Some become red-brown. But the rarest hold their original, fiery red brilliance for decades. Those are the ones that light up auction rooms. Coming up, I'll show you how to examine your 1962 D Lincoln penny right at home, even without expensive tools. But first, let's talk about the thrill of the hunt. A retired truck driver from Ohio, let's call him Frank, was cleaning out his late father's garage. In an old fishing tackle box, he found a roll of 1962 pennies wrapped in yellowing paper. One stood out. Shiny. Red. Practically glowing. He sent it off to a professional grading service, and sure enough, it came back as MS67 red. Frank had just become a millionaire. Off a penny his father forgot he even had. That's the beauty of coin collecting. The value isn't always obvious. It hides in plain sight. And often, it's the older generation, your father, your grandfather, who unknowingly passed down fortunes without even realizing it. Keep watching. We're getting into how to spot the big money traits next. Here's what to look for if you want to check your 1962 D penny for million-dollar potential. First, flip it under a good light. Use a magnifying glass. 10x is ideal. Look at the color. Does it shine like it was minted yesterday? That's a good start. Doubling on the date or, in God we trust, misaligned dies or off-center strikes, extra metal or odd bumps near the REMA demint mark that appears crooked or has a shadow. Then check the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial should have sharp lines. Clear columns. No blurriness. Next, you need to weigh it. A normal 1962 D penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If yours weighs more or less, it may have been struck on the wrong metal, and that can mean serious money. And finally, consider sending your coin to PCGS or NGC, the top 2 coin grading services in the world. If they certify it as MS67 red, you might want to call your financial advisor, but we're not done yet. Coming up, what happens when you find a $1.8 million coin? What are your next steps? And how do you sell it without getting ripped off? Let's talk strategy. Too many people find a valuable coin and jump to sell it for far less than it's worth. You need a plan. Talk to professionals. Reputable auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers specialize in rare coins and can help you get top dollar. Avoid pawn shops or online marketplaces unless you really know what you're doing. Too many sharks swim those waters. Set a reserve price. Know your coin's worth and stick to it, and remember, rare pennies are more than just collectibles. They're investment-grade assets. The right buyer might be a private collector, an investor, or even a museum. Now, as we near the final chapter, I've got one more reveal. Something very few people know about the 1962 D penny that fetched $1.80 million. It could be the single reason it commanded such an astronomical price. It wasn't just graded high. It wasn't just red. It wasn't just error-struck. It was a transitional planchet error. That means it was struck on a leftover metal blank from another year, likely silver or steel, during a time when pennies were supposed to be coppered. In other words, it shouldn't even exist, and yet, it does. Which is exactly why someone paid $1.8 million to own it. So check your change. Search the attic. Flip those old coin albums. Because sometimes, becoming a millionaire doesn't take a lottery ticket. If this video opened your eyes to the value hiding in your spare change, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more real stories, tips, and hidden coin values coming your way that could turn your drawer of junk into a vault of wealth. You ever dig through some old change, maybe a coffee can in the garage or a dusty drawer in the basement, and wonder, what if one of these was worth a fortune? Well, what if I told you there's a tiny copper coin minted in 1960 that could be worth almost $2 million today? That's right. A 1960 D Lincoln Memorial penny. Not gold. Not silver. Just a humble 1-cent coin. But one with a story so rich, it's changed the lives of ordinary men. There could still be one sitting in someone's junk drawer right now. So grab a coffee, lean back in your chair, and listen closely. Because over the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into the truth, the history, the value, and the magic behind the 1960 D penny that's taking collectors by storm. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it's worth $1.9 million, and how this little copper coin could unlock a lifestyle most only dream about. And trust me, you don't want to miss the twist that made collectors lose their minds. In 1960, the U.S. Mint in Denver produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. These were copper coins, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing unusual at first glance, but hidden among these everyday coins was something much more rare. The 1960 D penny exists in 2 main varieties, the small date and the large date. The difference? Subtle. In fact, many folks never noticed it for years. But to trained eyes, it's like finding a needle in a haystack made of gold. Now, here's where it gets interesting. At the time, the mint transitioned between 2 different date sizes during production. Some planchets, or blank coins, were struck with mismatched dies. Others showed doubled features, weak strikes, and even repunched mint marks. And in some cases, coins were accidentally struck using a 1960 small date die and a large date die together. But we're not talking pocket change. We're talking the kind of coin that, when discovered decades later, is worth $1.90 million. And yes, one of these coins did sell close to that number. A penny. 1 cent. See, the U.S. Mint didn't mean to make these coins so valuable. It was an accident. A production oversight. But in the world of coin collecting, those accidents can be worth more than gold bars. In one particular batch of 1960 D small date pennies, experts found a repunched mint mark. That means the D mint mark was struck more than once, slightly off each time, creating a shadow or doubling effect. And when you combine an RPM with a small date variety in high condition, jackpot. Only a handful of these coins exist in pristine condition, and one graded by PCGS as MS67 plus red, almost flawless, shook the coin world when it hit auction. The hammer dropped. The final bid? Just under $1.9 million. He wasn't a full-time dealer. He wasn't a Wall Street investor. He was just a regular guy with an eye for detail and a passion for old coins. You might be thinking, sure, but that was a one-time thing. Here's the kicker. There are still more of these coins out there. Experts agree that not all of them have been discovered. So the real question is, first, check the date style. A small date 1960 will have a narrower zero and the top of the 6 will point slightly upward. It's less bold compared to the large date. Second, examine the mint mark. If there's a D under the date, for Denver, you're on the right track. Now pull out a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look closely. Do you see doubling on the D? Does it look like it was struck twice? Now check the condition. If it's shiny red, with minimal scratches and clear details on Lincoln's face and coat, you might have a high-grade example. That's okay. Because the next step is where the magic happens. Most collectors use services like PCGS or NGC, the top coin grading companies in the world. You send in your coin, they examine it under microscopes, confirm the variety, check for mint errors, and give it a grade from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS60 is decent. But MS65 and higher? That's where the real money starts flowing. That $1 million 1960D penny? It was graded MS67 plus read by PCGS, and now, if your coin hits anything close to that grade, you're in for the ride of your life. And here's the twist. Even lower grade small date RPMs from 1960D can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. Not bad for a coin you found in an old cookie. To most people, a penny is just a penny. But to collectors, it's history. It's art. It's a puzzle piece in the grand story of American currency. The 1960D penny is special because it's rare, beautiful, and loaded with mystery. It represents a moment in time when machines, humans, and history intersected to make something truly unique, and for collectors who've spent decades building their collections, finally owning that coin, the crown jewel of their hunt, it's worth every cent. It's not just about money. It's about legacy. Bragging rights. Telling the story at coin shows. Passing it down to a grandson. It's something eternal. You'd be remembered not for luck, but for paying attention when others didn't dig through your drawers. Check those jars of old change. Look for any 1960D pennies. Get a good magnifying glass. Look for that small date. Search for that repunched mint mark, and if you find something that looks close, send it in. You never know, because the man who sold his 1960D Lincoln penny for $1.9 million? He didn't start out as a millionaire. He started out just like you. Curious. Motivated. Hopeful. And if that story teaches us anything, it's this: sometimes, the smallest coins hold the biggest fortunes. So don't just walk past pennies anymore. One of them might just change your life. Thanks for watching. If you want more secrets like this one, hit that subscribe button, share this with a friend, and let me know in the comments, have you ever checked your change? Hey there, gentlemen. Ever found a penny in your junk drawer or under your car seat and thought, just another copper coin? What if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking pennies could be worth $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're going deep into one of the most overlooked treasures hiding in plain sight, the 1973D Lincoln Memorial Penny. A coin that once bought a stick of gum could now buy you a luxury house on the coast or fund your retirement with ease. This isn't some collector fantasy. This is real. And by the time we finish, you'll understand exactly why this penny has collectors foaming at the mouth and auction houses throwing out six-figure estimates like candy. Stick around, because at the end of this video, I'll share the exact details that made one of these copper coins explode to a $1 million value and how you might be sitting on one without even knowing it. Let's begin this journey, not in a coin shop, but in your everyday pocket change. Back in 1973, America was in a unique moment in time. The Vietnam War was winding down, Nixon was still in office, and the cost of living was rising fast. Pennies were still made mostly of copper. People didn't hoard them. They spent them, and in Denver, at the U.S. Mint, millions of Lincoln Memorial pennies were struck with the D mint mark. Most people never looked twice. Why would they? It's just a penny, right? But here's where the story turns. Among the tens of millions of these coins, a handful were struck with minute, nearly invisible flaws, tiny errors, rare patterns, misalignments, and die variations that would eventually make a few of these coins the most valuable pennies in American history. And if you're asking yourself right now, how do I know if I have one of those? Keep watching. Because I'll walk you through the exact details in just a moment. But first, we have to understand what separates a $1,000,000 penny from the rest of the pile. To the untrained eye, the 1973 D Lincoln penny looks like every other penny of the era. Same copper color. Same honest face of Abraham Lincoln on the front. The familiar memorial building on the back. The world of rare coins, it's the smallest details that separate spare change from life-changing fortune. Rare die errors, like a double die obverse where the design appears duplicated. Off-center strikes that occurred during a misaligned minting process. Coins struck on the wrong metal planchet, such as aluminum or silver by accident. Immaculate condition, known as mint state, especially MS67 or higher. Finding a coin in your drawer that not only survived 50 years without getting scratched up but also has a minting flaw so rare that only a few exist. That's how one of these pennies recently fetched nearly $1,000,000 at auction. You might think the folks buying these coins are old collectors in dusty basements. Not quite. Today's rare coin market is full of high-rolling investors, wealthy hobbyists, and even hedge funds looking to diversify into physical assets. A coin like the 1973 D Lincoln penny, especially with perfect grading and a rare error, isn't just a collector's item. It's an appreciating asset. It's a tangible piece of American history. And it's scarce. When one of these coins hit the auction block at a major house in early 2024, bidding started in the tens of thousands and didn't stop climbing until it crossed seven figures. The hammer dropped at $1,000,000. Because the coin checked all the boxes. Rarity, condition, story, and the demand? Red hot. But what if you're not an investor or collector? What if you just want to know if your spare change could change your life? Let's get practical. Grab your coin jar, your glove box, or that old cigar box of change your grandfather left behind. Because here's what to look for in a 1973 D penny that might just make you a millionaire. Look for the year 1973 with a clear D underneath Lincoln's shoulder. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubling in the text Liberty or In God We Trust. That's a telltale sign of a double die error. Does Lincoln's face look warped or partially missing? That could be an off-center strike worth thousands. If you've got a digital scale, weigh the penny. It should be 3.11 grams. If it's much lighter, it may have been struck on the wrong metal, possibly aluminum. No scratches. No discoloration. No finger oils. If your penny looks like it just left the mint, it could be one of those rare mint state treasures. Even if you find a penny with just one of these characteristics, it could still be worth hundreds or thousands on its own. But combine them? That's where the $1,000,000 mark starts to come into view. But where do you go if you think you found one? Who do you trust? That's next. First, do not clean the coin. Ever. Even wiping it with a cloth can reduce its value instantly. In a coin flip, a soft pouch, or even a small plastic bag to prevent damage. Then, reach out to one of the big third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. These are the professionals who grade and authenticate coins. They'll tell you the condition and verify if it's the real deal. Once graded, that coin becomes a certified investment, and if it's high enough grade, it can go to auction. This is where coin brokers and dealers come into the picture. They'll shop it around to collectors or auction houses for you. And if you want top dollar, auction is the way to go. But there's one more angle to this that most folks never think about, and it could change how you see pennies forever. This story isn't just about copper. It's about missed opportunities. Hidden value. The idea that something most people walk past every day could hold incredible worth. The 1973 D Lincoln penny is a symbol of that idea. For every man who thinks it's too late to build wealth, for every guy who thinks he missed the boat, this coin reminds us it's never too late. Sometimes wealth is hiding right under our nose. There are still thousands of unsearched coin collections, old banks with unsorted rolls, and attic boxes with change from the 70s that haven't seen daylight in decades. Your $1,000,000 penny might not be in your hand today, but it could be in that next handful of change. If you've stuck with me this long, then you already know you don't have to be a coin expert to spot a treasure. You just have to be curious. You just have to look. The 1973 D Lincoln penny isn't the only coin out there worth big money. But it's one of the best reminders that American coins tell stories of mistakes, of rarity, of history, and sometimes, of fortune. So go ahead. Check your jars. Go through your drawers. And next time you see a copper penny, take a second look. Because the next $1 million discovery might just be resting in your hand, and if you want more videos about rare coins worth a fortune, you know where to find me. Hit that subscribe button, and let's dig up some treasure together. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a 1-cent coin minted in 1979 with a tiny D mark under the date, could be worth more than a Lamborghini, a small house, or even a luxury yacht? Stay right here, because we're diving deep into the mysterious world of a coin that looks ordinary, but is actually worth $1.1 million. You're about to discover why collectors are fighting to get their hands on this rare 1979 D Lincoln Memorial penny, and how you might be sitting on a hidden fortune right now without even knowing it. The 1979 D Lincoln Memorial penny was minted at the Denver Mint. Over 4.1 billion of these were made that year. That's right, billion, with a B. So why on earth would one of these be worth over $1 million? It all starts with a secret buried beneath the copper-plated zinc. Most people toss these coins into a change jar, never thinking twice. But every now and then, something goes wrong during the minting process. A tiny error, a misalignment, or a double strike. These aren't flaws to collectors, they're golden tickets. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's one coin among those billions that stands out. A coin with something so special, so one of a kind, that when it was discovered, experts couldn't believe their eyes. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what makes coins like these valuable in the first place. Rarity. If only a few of something exist, collectors want it. But it's not just about quantity. It's about survival. Plenty of 1979 D pennies were made. But how many were preserved in mint state, untouched, flawless, and unique? A coin in MS-67 or MS-68 grade can skyrocket in price. Some 1979 D pennies look like they were minted yesterday, clean surfaces, crisp edges, no scratches. Those are worth watching. This is where the big money often hides. Some 1979 D pennies have been found with double dies, off-center strikes, or even rare transitional metal compositions. Coins tell stories. And the late 1970s were a wild time: economic turmoil, inflation, and changes to minting techniques. Any anomaly from this era gets attention fast. Now imagine a 1979 D penny that ticks all 4 boxes. That's what happened. It didn't just attract collectors. It made headlines. Experts couldn't agree on how it even existed. One question echoed across the community: a retired machinist in Colorado, let's call him Bill, was rolling coins with his grandson. He'd saved pennies for years, never thinking twice. But something about this particular coin caught his eye. It looked newer, sharper. The shine was unnatural for a penny that old. He had it examined. And what the graders at the Coin Certification Lab found was shocking. This wasn't just any 1979 D penny. It was struck on a copper planchet that matched the pre-1982 composition, but it had unusual thickness. It wasn't supposed to exist. Even more shocking, microscopic die doubling on Lincoln's profile. An error that made it one of one. And when it went to auction, no one could have predicted what would happen next. The room was silent. Collectors from around the world, many of them millionaires themselves, waited as the bidding began. The auctioneer started low, just a few $1,000s. A steal, then the bidding surged. $10,000. 50. 100. A collector from overseas jumped in. He believed the coin had historical mystique. Something spiritual. Even when the gavel finally came down, the price had reached a mind-blowing $1.10 million. 1 cent turned into over $1 million. Overnight. But let's pause here, because this story isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the treasure that might be hiding in plain sight right there in your pocket, your drawer, your childhood coin jar. Right now, you might be wondering, pull out your loose change. Look for any 1979 D pennies. The D is below the year. Check for oddities. Off-center images. Thick rims. Doubling of letters or Lincoln's profile. If it feels or looks strange, it's worth examining. Weigh it. Normal pennies from 1979 should weigh about 3.11 grams of copper, and less if a zinc error planchet was mistakenly used. Send it for grading. Professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can confirm authenticity and assign a value. It could be nothing. Or it could be everything. The 1979 D isn't the only surprise in circulation. You should also keep your eyes open for 1969's double die obverse, 1972 double die, 1983 copper errors, 1992 close AM varieties, 2009 rare mint errors with Lincoln's presidency themes. Each of these coins has crossed 6 or even 7 figures in value when in pristine condition. So if you're checking one coin, check them all. Your financial future could depend on it. Inflation. Digital banking. Uncertain markets. People are turning to tangible assets again. Real things. Hard money. Rare coins are rising in value because they're unique, untraceable, and irreplaceable. The 1979 pennies $1 million sale wasn't a fluke. It was a sign of the times, and in this wave of attention, the next big coin discovery might be waiting for someone just like you. So here's what you do tonight: dump out your jars. Look through the piles. Check every 1979 penny. If it looks odd, don't dismiss it. Don't spend it. Protect it, take a picture. Research it. Contact an expert. You're not just looking for a coin. You're hunting for history. A silent fortune. A forgotten piece of America, and maybe, just maybe, your ticket to a wealthier, freer life, because one thing's for sure, that 1979 Lincoln Memorial penny shocked the world once. It can do it again. Subscribe for more hidden treasures, unbelievable finds, and life-changing stories. And remember, the next millionaire coin could be in your pocket right now. Have you ever bent down to pick up a penny off the ground, only to toss it aside thinking it's worthless? What if I told you that one of those could make you a millionaire? Yes, one single 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny recently shocked collectors and dealers across the United States by selling for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Not thousand, million. And the best part? This exact coin might be sitting right now in an old jar on your shelf, inside a drawer, or buried in a shoebox full of forgotten change. Now hold on to that curiosity, because over the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into why this penny is so rare, what sets it apart, how you can identify one yourself, and what steps you need to take to cash in big if you're lucky enough to own one. But let's begin with a story. One that started in a small town, with an old man and a rusty coin. In 2023, a retired Navy veteran from Ohio walked into a local coin shop with a handful of old coins. He was cleaning out his garage, getting ready to move closer to his grandkids. He almost didn't bring the pennies. Almost. He told the shop owner, "I've had these since 1970. Figured I'd let him go for a few bucks." One coin stood out. A 1968 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark. The shop owner nearly dropped it. His hands shook. He didn't say much except, "Sir, you might want to sit down." That penny would go on to sell for $1.2 million at a private collector's auction. Now you may be wondering, why that coin? Why 1968? Why no mint mark? Let's connect the dots. The U.S. Mint uses mint marks to indicate where a coin was made. A D means it was minted in Denver. An S means San Francisco. And if there's no mint mark at all? That typically means Philadelphia, but here's the twist. In 1968, the U.S. Mint reintroduced the S mint mark for proof coins. Most business strike pennies were made in Philadelphia and didn't carry any mint mark, which was standard at the time. So technically, a 1968 penny without a mint mark isn't that unusual, but this isn't just any no mint mark penny. There's a secret hiding in plain sight. What makes this penny worth millions is an extraordinary set of conditions. First, it's not just the absence of the mint mark. It's the die variety used to strike it. This rare 1968 penny shows signs of a double die obverse, meaning that during the minting process, the die shifted slightly twice, creating a doubling effect on the front of the coin. Look closely, and you'll see it. Lincoln's profile looks shadowed. The date seems to shimmer, almost like it's been printed twice. The letters in Liberty have ghost-like edges. It's that doubling that makes it one of the rarest known errors of the decade. Now combine that with the right condition, uncirculated, full red luster, no scratches, and you've got something beyond rare. You've got a jackpot. Condition is everything in the coin world. You could have a rare penny, but if it's been scratched, corroded, or worn down in your jeans for 40 years, its value drops drastically. MS means mint state, on a scale from 60 to 70. A 70 is perfect, museum quality. An MS67 means it's practically flawless to the naked eye, and red doesn't just mean the color. It means the coin retained its original red copper color from the mint, rather than toning to brown or dark over the decades. The closer your penny is to that perfection, the higher the value. There are maybe a handful of 1968 no mint mark pennies with that level of clarity, color, and condition. Have you ever dumped your pocket change into a jar and forgot about it? Of course you have. We all have. But somewhere across America, in one of those jars, one of these $1 million 1968 pennies is still hiding. People are finding them. Not just collectors. Regular folks. Grandpas in the Midwest. Retired truck drivers. A woman in Texas found one inside a roll of pennies from her local bank. She bought the roll for 50 cents. Her penny sold for over $600,000 because it wasn't as pristine, but still rare, because someone, somewhere is going to find the next one. It could be you, and now let's get technical, but keep it simple. Grab your magnifying glass. Look for a no mint mark under the date, doubling in the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1968. A coin that shines like it's brand new, bright red, no smudges, no scratches. Lincoln's features should look sharp. The lettering should pop off the surface. If you see these signs, don't spend it. Don't even touch it more than you have to. Place it in a soft cloth or plastic coin flip and get it professionally graded. That grade could make the difference between $100 and $1.20 million. Don't run to your nearest pawn shop. Most shops won't offer you fair value. This is where the serious money comes in. Get it authenticated and graded. Use a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Reach out to auction houses that specialize in rare coins. Heritage Auctions, Stacksbauer's, Legend Rare Coin Auctions. They handle $1 million coins regularly. Yes, even in coin collecting, negotiation is king. There's always a buyer. Your job is to find the one who sees the same value you do, or more. Protect your windfall. Talk to a financial advisor. Get smart with the money. $1 million coin can change your life, but only if you're smart with it. That Navy veteran who found the $1 million penny? He used the money to pay off his mortgage, buy his daughter a home, and set up college funds for his grandkids. He didn't just cash in, he changed his family's future, and all it took was a coin most people would walk right past. As we wrap up, let me leave you with this: coins are more than metal. They're history. They're stories. And sometimes, they're $1 million tickets waiting for someone to wake up and pay attention. Go check your jars. Look through that old coin collection your uncle gave you. Dig into that coffee can in your basement. That 1968 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny could be sitting there right under your nose, and if you find it, your story could be the next one we tell. Subscribe for more unbelievable coin stories, and don't forget to comment below if you've got a coin you think might be worth a fortune. You never know, you might just be holding the next $1 million penny. Gentlemen, imagine this: you're sitting on the couch, sipping coffee, and flipping through an old coin jar from the back of your garage. You reach in and pull out a simple-looking Lincoln penny. It's brown. It's worn. You barely notice the little D below the date. But here's the shocker: this exact coin, this 1964 D Lincoln Memorial penny, has been sold in private auctions for over $1.3 million. That's right. $1.3 million. In today's video, we're diving into the incredible story behind this rare coin, what makes it worth a fortune, and why you might have one lying in your pocket change or buried in your dad's old cigar box. And don't go anywhere, because towards the end, I'll reveal a specific feature that 99% of collectors overlook, but it's the very clue that could mean your 1964 D penny is worth millions. So sit back, grab that penny jar, and let's unlock the mystery behind one of America's most surprising coin treasures. Let's travel back to 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson was president. The Beatles had just arrived in the US, and America was in the middle of a coin shortage that made headlines nationwide. To keep up with demand, the Denver Mint struck over 3 billion Lincoln Memorial cents that year. That's billion with a B. So how could something minted by the billions possibly be rare? Amid the high-speed mass production, a small number of pennies escaped the minting floor with anomalies, flaws, striking errors, variants. And it's these few, maybe even just a couple dozen, that turned from copper coins into $1 million collectibles. Hang tight. We're about to uncover that. First, let's talk about the D mint mark. That tiny letter stamped below the date tells us this penny was minted in Denver. And in 1964, Denver was running its presses almost non-stop. Now here's where it gets interesting. Among the billions struck, a few coins were found to have doubled die features where the image, particularly Lincoln's face or the lettering, appears doubled due to misalignment during the minting process. These are called double die errors, and collectors go wild for them. Some 1964 D pennies also feature off-center strikes, die cracks, or even what's known as repunched mint marks, where the D appears to be stamped twice, slightly overlapping. These subtle differences can send values soaring. Still, one mystery variant has outshined the rest. A handful of collectors discovered a 1964 D penny with extremely sharp details, deeper reliefs, and an unusually bright luster, suggesting a special planchet was used, or that it came from an early die state. Don't blink now. The clues are coming. Sharp detail on Lincoln's hair and beard. If Lincoln looks like he just stepped out of a barbershop, with every strand defined, you're onto something. That could be a sign of an early die strike, a big deal in numismatics. Look closely at the words, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." Use a magnifying glass. If you see any doubling, especially bold and clear, it's time to get excited. Check the D under 1964. If you notice what looks like a shadow or double stamping, that's a major red flag in a good way. Most 1964 pennies weigh about 3.11 grams. But a few rare ones struck on silver planchets from leftover blanks weigh slightly less, about 2.5 grams. That alone can push a penny's value into the 6 or 7 figures. We're halfway through, and we've barely scratched the surface. Next, let's explore the real-world stories of collectors who turned pocket change into bank account explosions. Meet Harold, a retired mechanic from Ohio. He found his $1 million 1964 D penny while sorting coins for his grandson's collection. He almost threw it back in the coffee can but noticed Lincoln's eye looked off. Turned out, it was a doubled die error from an early strike. He sent it for grading, and 6 months later, it sold at auction for over $1.3 million. Then there's Frank, a Vietnam veteran from Texas. He kept an old piggy bank since 1972. Decided to finally crack it open last year. Inside? 2 1964 D pennies that were near mint state with bright red color and repunched mint marks. One went for $400,000. The other? He's still holding on to it, waiting for offers. These aren't myths. These aren't stories passed around like ghost tales. These are real people, regular men, just like you, who spotted something others missed. But hang on, before you dig out your pennies, you need to know how to protect yourself, for with big money comes big risk. Scammers love to prey on eager sellers. Don't fall for online buyers offering quick cash without authentication. Get your penny professionally graded. PCGS and NGC are the two most trusted names. They'll certify your coin's condition and authenticity. This is huge. Cleaning it with polish or vinegar can instantly destroy its value. Leave it in its natural state even if it looks dirty. Websites like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers show recent sales. Use those to understand your coin's market position. Don't rush. Take your time, shop your coin around, and get second opinions. A true rare 1964 D penny doesn't need to beg for attention. The market will come to you, but there's one more twist to this story. And it might just be the reason your penny is the next one to change your life. But it's not just about errors. Not just about sharpness. There's a wild card. Some of the $1 million 1964 D pennies were struck on leftover planchets meant for dimes or foreign coins. This kind of mix-up is incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. You'd never guess it by looking. But weigh the coin, feel the metal, and sometimes, just sometimes, you'll notice it sounds different when dropped. A ping, not a clink. That metallic music could be your $1 million melody. Coin experts call these wrong planchet strikes. And they've made headlines when found. These errors were never meant to exist. Which means they weren't tracked. Weren't documented. They're stealth millionaires hiding in plain sight. Yours could be next. Find your old coin jars. Dig through the drawers. Search Dad's tackle box, Grandpa's cigar tin, or the dusty coin album from the 1980s. Every 1964 D penny you find is a chance. A clue. A doorway to a different life. Hold on to it. Don't rush to sell. Get it graded. Understand it. And then decide if you want to be the next collector with a $1.3 million smile, because the truth is, gentlemen, wealth isn't always in the bank. Sometimes it's hiding in copper, in the past, in the little details others overlook.